Never discount your products. Never sell based on price. If you do these things, you reduce the perceived value of your products and ultimately train your customers to not want to give you money. Have you heard this advice before? I'm sure you have. My name is Paul Macetta with theinfluentialmind.com, and in this video, I'm going to show you why discounting can actually be a good thing and how you can utilize it to make more sales without ruining your customers' ability to give you money. We've all heard it before, that you should never discount your products because when you do, you basically illegitimize them or you reduce the perceived value in the eyes of the customer, and you also begin to train the customer to always expect a discount. I'm in marketing, I'm an entrepreneur, and I've heard this thousands upon thousands of times. And in this video, I want to share with you the reason why that advice is incomplete. And the reason why it's incomplete is because it's all depending on the type of business model that you have. So let me explain what I mean by that. Most people who tell you not to discount your products are working on a ticket-based model for selling their products and services. So what that means is they usually have a single product, maybe two products. It's usually a higher priced item and it's their bread and butter. So of course, if they go and discount the product, then it's going to affect their business negatively. However, there's also a different type of business model called the volume-based model, where you sell multiple products, kind of like what Amazon and what Walmart do. Now, I happen to own both types of those businesses. I own an information-based business where we do sell higher ticket items, and I also own businesses that work on the volume-based sales model. So let me explain to you the difference between the two, because there are pros and cons to each one of them. So with the singular product model or the ticket-based model, business model, you basically, the pros to that are that you have limited work, meaning that you put all the work into that one product, but then you don't ever have to do anything ever again. They are usually high revenue generating products. So examples of these are like product launches. So person comes out with this one big product, it's the only product that they have, and then they do a product launch for it every 3 or 4 months and get a whole bunch of people to promote it, and they have these huge revenue spikes. But the revenue spikes are not weekly or monthly, they're usually quarterly. The good thing about these is that there's less to manage and less to worry about because you're only dealing with 1 or 2 products. Another good thing about it is that, yes, when you do have customers that buy these types of products, they are typically high-paying customers, and high-paying customers, as we know, are never a bad thing. There are cons to this model as well, though. Some of the cons are that you have limited product options, which means if you don't have something of your own to sell, well, then you gotta find other stuff to sell. And what that usually means is that you start selling other people's products, or you start getting engaged in what we call affiliate marketing. I don't really like affiliate marketing for a multitude of reasons. Number one, most of the stuff that's out there is garbage, and I don't have the time to sift through and evaluate the stuff that isn't garbage. Secondly, I don't like sending my subscribers to someone else's offer if I haven't evaluated it, and then on top of that, I have to split the commission with someone else. I'd rather send them to my own offer, which I know is good and valuable, and get to keep the entire commission. Another downside to this type of model is that refunds really hurt. So if you're selling a really high ticket item, if you're selling something between $500 and $5,000, let's say, per product, every time someone refunds, that really hurts you. It's also a harder entry point for the customer. So yeah, the customers that you do get are these high-paying customers, which are very valuable. But how many of those customers are you actually getting? Because the entry point, there are a lot of barriers in their way. I mean, let's face it, the more money a person has to spend to purchase your product, the more you have to convince them, the more sales copy you got to write, the more steps you have to take to get them to trust you to take out that credit card. You also have to spend a lot of time on testing all different types of variations of this business model, of your sales process, so that you're ensuring that you get the best bang for your buck and you try to get as many sales as you can, knowing that the barriers to entry are there. These types of products are also harder to create. Now, yes, it is true that you create these types of products one time and then they're pretty much your only product, but these products you should typically have to be really comprehensive. They have to include a lot of information. I mean, that's how you justify charging people a lot of money for them. Now, in the second business model that I mentioned, which is where you have multiple products, this is where the revenue that you're generating is not based on the high ticket, it's based on the amount of volume that you sell. Now, the pros to this type of business is that when you have multiple products, there's always something to sell. And let's face it, sales are the lifeblood of every business. If you're not making sales, you're not going to be in business for a long time. The more you have to sell of your own stuff, the more profitable your business is going to be. Secondly, if you have a lot of different products, then you have a reason to discount. So there's a difference between creating the perception in the mind of the customer that you are trying to discount your product so that you can get money out of them versus discounting the product because you want to provide something positive for them as the customer. There's a difference in the perception there. Next is when you have a lot of different products, it increases your perception of expertise or how you're perceived as an expert because of this thing called the halo effect, which basically tells us that if we believe that a person is an expert in one thing, we will typically believe that they're an expert in other things. So when you have a multitude of products all on staying within the same subject range or in the same space or niche, it increases your perceived expertise to your customers. Next, refunds in this business model aren't going to kill you. If you're selling a low ticket item, $10 or $20, and you get a couple of refunds, it's not going to ruin your day. Next positive thing about this type of business model is it is an easier entry point. So it's easier for the customer to take out their credit card and actually give you money. And when that happens, the relationship between you and the customer changes. Even if they give you $1, you have gained trust with them on some level to the point that you are now in business with one another. Next benefit to this type of model is that these types of products are typically easier to create. So you don't have to spend months, weeks, or even years putting together a product. Instead, you can put together a really solid product. I've done this where I've created 10 video module products and I've done them in 5 days and shot them in super high quality video. Now, just like with the other business model, there are also cons or downsides to this type of business model. The first one is that you're consistently and constantly working. So unlike the other business model where you put all your time and effort for a certain amount of time into one product and then that's it, with this, you're constantly creating products. With that comes more things to manage. So if you have more products, then that means you have more websites. It means that you have more people. It means that you have more things to worry about. Also, you're going to get lower but more consistent revenue spikes. So rather than making huge amounts of revenue every quarter, you're going to make smaller amounts of revenue, but they're going to be more consistent. Another con is that you can potentially have a less engaged customer because let's face it, in order for a customer to give you $500, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, you have to have them really engaged. For someone to take out 10 or 20 bucks, they might just do it because it's a no-brainer and there's not a lot of money on the line, so they might not necessarily be as engaged as the other type of customer. Now, the point that I'm trying to make in this video is that when people say that discounting is bad, that's an incomplete statement because there is a time and a place to discount, and it depends on the type of business model that you have. If you have the singular product ticket-based model, then no, discounting is probably not going to be a good thing for you. But if you have the multiple product volume-based model, then discounting is probably going to be the best thing that you can do. So now how do you combine both of those things? Well, you combine the both of them through something called optimization, which is where you take the best of both worlds and you completely optimize the process so that you get the highest customer value possible. So how you do that is you create a low priced offer, which again lowers that barrier to entry, and then you offer some upsells to higher ticket items, and then you could offer some downsells if they don't take the higher ticket items, and then you could possibly offer them a subscription based product so that you're getting monthly revenue. The point is that there is a time and a place to discount. What you can do right now is, if you want to get into that type of model, think about a product that you have right now, think about the space that you're in or the niche that you're in, and start thinking about sub-niches within your space that you could create products on, and create smaller products that you could utilize to either A, run different sales on sporadically, like you could run flash sales every week or every 2 weeks on those types of products, or you could simply use them as lower barrier to entry products to get them ultimately into your higher ticket brand. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe so you get access to more videos like this.